The night sky was calm above Earth. Stars blinked softly, unaware of the storm that was coming. In the deep silence of space, a strange signal appeared, faint at first, then stronger. It came from far beyond Pluto, repeating one message again and again. Surrender your world or be erased. At first, scientists thought it was a joke or some strange cosmic noise. But the signal carried structure, a rhythm, a pattern, and a clear voice. It was not human. It was a warning. Inside the Global Space Command Center, alarms filled the room. Technicians shouted across screens, trying to trace the source. The signal kept growing louder, clearer, colder. Commander Raiden Holt, leader of Earth Defense Command, stood still as he listened to the transmission. His face showed no fear, only focus. He had seen war, he had seen death, but never something like this. Whoever they are, he said quietly, they know we're here. The scientists decoded the transmission within hours. It came from a fleet, hundreds of ships moving toward the solar system. Each ship was larger than a city. They traveled in perfect formation, cutting through the void with speed beyond human technology. Humanity had made contact, but not the kind they hoped for. The world reacts within days. Every major government on Earth knew the truth. The Zereth Dominion, a powerful alien empire, had set its eyes on Earth. They sent a second message, colder and more direct. Leave your planet within 10 cycles of your sun. Those who stay will perish. People panicked. News channels ran 24 hours, showing false images of alien ships and burning cities. Some believed the message. Others called it fake, but the signal never stopped. In New York, people looked up at the sky, wondering if this was the end. In Beijing, leaders argued about defense. In Moscow, generals demanded nuclear readiness. In every corner of the planet, fear was rising. Commander Holt sat in the war room beneath the Atlantic Ocean, a secret facility known as Echelon Base. Around him, screens showed hundreds of moving dots, the alien fleet, now crossing Neptune's orbit. They'll reach Earth in 6 days, one officer said, his voice shaking. 6 days, Holt repeated. That's not enough time. The hidden weapon Earth had a small defense fleet, but it was nothing compared to the Zerath ships. Humanity had never fought an interstellar war. But Earth had one secret, a weapon built for a day like this. Hidden deep beneath the ice of Antarctica was Project Helios, a planetary defense system designed decades ago, when scientists first feared alien contact. It used solar energy on a massive scale, a weapon that could focus the sun's power into a single destructive beam. No one had ever dared to activate it. Holt knew about Helios. He had read the old classified files. Even the engineers who built it were afraid of what it could do. If anything went wrong, it could burn half the solar system. He turned to Dr. Ilara Voss, the chief scientist behind Helios. Ilara, he said, if we use it, can we control it? Her eyes were tired, her voice soft. Control it? Maybe. Survive it? I don't know. The countdown, the fleet kept moving closer. Every hour the signal repeated, the same message, calm and cruel. Surrender your world, or be erased. Holt sent a transmission back to the Zerath Dominion. This is Earth Command, he said firmly. You have entered our system without permission. Turn back now. There was no reply for almost a full day. Then finally a response came, cold, mechanical, and full of contempt. You are insects guarding dust. Your species will feed the Dominion. Prepare for erasure. The line went dead. All across Earth, defenses came online. Satellite shields powered up. Space stations armed missiles. But deep down, everyone knew none of it would be enough. The choice in the dark war room, Holt stood alone watching the holographic map. The alien fleet had crossed Uranus. They would be near Saturn soon. Time was running out. He remembered his daughter's voice before he left home that morning. Dad, will the stars fall? She asked. He smiled at the memory. No, sweetheart. We'll make them shine brighter. Now he wasn't so sure. Dr. Voss appeared beside him. We need to decide, she said quietly. Activate Helios or let them reach us. Holt took a deep breath. His eyes stayed fixed on the glowing dots moving closer to Earth. Send one more message, he ordered. Our final warning. A message was sent through every communication channel, across every frequency. It was short. It was clear. This is Earth's final warning. Leave now or be erased. The message spread through the dark like fire. For the first time, the alien ships slowed down, just a little. Perhaps they were surprised. Perhaps they were curious. But they did not stop, and then, far beneath Antarctica, deep machinery began to hum. Lights flashed across the ice. A tremor moved through the ground, as if the planet itself had taken a breath. Commander Holt whispered, "May God forgive us." In the distance, the sun seemed to flicker, brighter, sharper. Alive, the signal from the alien fleet grew louder again. "We are coming." The world held its breath. After the final warning was sent, every screen, every satellite, and every heart waited for the aliens to reply. But there was only silence. Deep, endless silence. Commander Raiden Holt stood in the control room of Echelon Base, eyes fixed on the holographic map of the solar system. The alien fleet, the Zerath Dominion, kept moving. Slowly, coldly, confidently. They were no longer days away. They were hours away. Still no response. He asked. Lieutenant Mira looked up from her console. "No, sir." "They're not slowing down." Holt nodded. His jaw tightened. He knew what that meant. The warning hadn't worked. Humanity's last hope now rested on a weapon no one had ever dared to use. Project Helios. Beneath the ice far beneath Antarctica, buried under layers of ancient ice, a secret world came alive. Giant turbines spun. Cables thicker than trees glowed with light. The Helios core, a massive crystal engine, awoke for the first time in history. Dr. Ilara Voss, the lead scientist, walked through the frozen tunnels with her team. Frost covered the walls. Her breath turned to mist as she spoke into her headset. Power levels at 20%. Systems waking up. From the speakers, Holt's voice replied, calm but heavy. "Ilara, how long until Helios is ready?" 4 hours for full charge. But the system hasn't been tested in decades. We could overload the sun if we miscalculate. Holt closed his eyes for a moment. Then we don't miscalculate. The fear grows news of the alien fleet had already leaked to the public. Across the world, people watched the skies, searching for light that wasn't supposed to be there. Some prayed, others fled. Some recorded videos saying goodbye to the world. In one of those videos, a little girl said softly, "Dear aliens, please don't hurt us. We're small, but we have dreams too." That message went viral. Even Holt saw it later that night. It reminded him why they were fighting, but the fear kept growing. Cities began to lose power. The atmosphere trembled with strange magnetic waves. The aliens were already affecting Earth systems, bending gravity, scanning the planet. They were ready to strike. A glimpse of the enemy at the edge of Saturn. An observation drone caught the first clear image of the Zerath fleet. The picture appeared on screens inside Echelon Base. No one spoke for a long moment. The ships looked like black mountains floating in the void. Their surface moved like liquid metal. Glowing blue veins pulsed across them, forming strange symbols. One of the scientists whispered, "It's like their ships are alive." Suddenly, the lead ship opened. A pulse of light shot out, destroying the drone instantly. The image vanished. Holt turned away from the dark screen. "They've seen us watching," he said. "Now they know we're ready. Activating Helios Doctor." Voss stood before the Helios core. Its light filled the whole chamber. She placed her hand on the control sphere, a smooth crystal linked directly to the solar arrays orbiting the sun. "Commander, we are ready for activation," she said through the comm. Holt's voice came back. "Do it." The air filled with a deep hum. Energy surged from orbiting satellites to the core. The Helios arrays around the sun began to shift position, forming a perfect alignment. A bright wave spread across the solar surface. The sun itself responded, its light changing color, turning into a focused, burning pulse. Inside the control room, alarms flashed red. "Energy spike, 500% above safe level," shouted a technician. "Stabilize the field," Voss ordered. "If it breaks, the sun will erupt." But the system held. The Helios beam was ready. The last message: the alien fleet had entered Jupiter's orbit. Earth could now see them with the naked eye, dark shapes moving between stars. Holt stood before the main console, his hand hovering over the firing control. He gave one final order: send them one more chance. A new message went out, broadcast through every frequency, carried by light, by sound, by code. This is Commander Raiden Holt of Earth. You are crossing into our home. This is your last chance. Turn back now. For a moment there was no answer. Then the aliens replied, "We admire your courage, human, but courage will not save you." Their ships began to glow, weapons charged. They were preparing to fire. "The decision, sir," Lieutenant Mira said, her voice trembling. "They're powering weapons. Impact in 3 minutes." Holt looked around the room, his officers, his soldiers, his people, all waiting for him to decide. He thought of his daughter again, her laughter, her tiny hands drawing stars on the window. He whispered, "Forgive me, sweetheart." Then he pressed the command key. "Dr. Voss," he said, "activate the Helios protocol." The sun awakens. In that instant, the Helios system reached full power. The sun flared, not in chaos, but in precision. A single concentrated beam of light exploded outward, crossing millions of kilometers in seconds. It was beautiful and terrifying. Every sensor in the solar system went blind. The alien fleet was caught in the blast. For a brief moment, the night sky turned to day. When the light faded, silence returned. The scanners showed nothing. The alien fleet was gone. The room filled with stunned whispers. Did we win?" someone asked. Dr. Voss stared at her screens. "Wait," she said slowly. "Something's wrong." In the darkness of space, beyond the reach of the Helios beam, something moved. A shadow much larger than before. Her voice echoed through the static. The same cold voice as before, but deeper, stronger. "You have only awakened us." Holt froze. His eyes widened. The real invasion hadn't even started. The world celebrated. For a few short hours, humanity believed it had won. News screens showed the same headline everywhere: "Alien fleet destroyed. Earth is safe." People filled the streets, hugging strangers, crying with joy. The skies were calm, the stars peaceful again. But deep below Antarctica, Commander Raiden Holt didn't smile. He stood before the holographic display, watching empty space where the alien fleet had been. His instincts whispered something was wrong. It had been too easy. "Are we sure they're gone?" he asked quietly. Dr. Ilara Voss looked up from her console. Her hands trembled slightly. "The Helios beam hit the exact coordinates," she said. "There's no sign of debris." "Nothing survived," Holt frowned. "That's the problem. Something that big doesn't just disappear." The calm before the storm hours passed. The world returned to a fragile peace. Governments reconnected. News anchors called it the day the sun saved Earth. Holt watched the reports from his dim office in Echelon Base. He should have felt relief. Instead, he felt a cold emptiness growing inside him. Lieutenant Mira entered quietly. "Sir, people are calling you a hero," she said. "They want a speech for the global broadcast." Holt didn't look up. "Heroes don't press buttons that kill millions," he said softly. She hesitated. "So we did what we had to do," he sighed. "Maybe, but the Zereth wouldn't fall that easily. They didn't come this far to vanish in light. Outside the base, the winds over Antarctica howled like ghosts. Unseen movements. At 3:17 a.m., the first report came in. An observatory in Chile detected strange distortions near the sun, as if shadows were moving across its surface. 2 hours later, satellites in orbit went offline one by one. At first, engineers thought it was solar interference from the Helios discharge. But soon, all systems connected to space defense started losing contact. Dr. Voss rushed into the control room. "Commander, we're blind," she said. "Our satellites are going dark. EMP." Holt asked. "No," she said. "Something else. Something's absorbing our signals, like they're being swallowed." The room filled with quiet fear. Everyone remembered the alien voice before the silence. "You have only awakened us." The shadow appears, Echelon Base, connected to the last working telescope near the moon's orbit. The image came through slowly, flickering, unstable, At first it looked like a dark blur against the stars. Then the shape became clear, enormous, black and alive. It was not a ship. It was bigger. Much bigger. The Zerath Prime, the true form of the invaders, had been hiding behind the sun, feeding on its energy. The smaller fleet had only been their scouts. The real one had now awakened, stronger than before, using the sun itself as fuel. Dr. Voss stared at the image, frozen. It's inside the solar corona, she whispered. It's using the sun as a shield, Holt's voice turned hard. Then the Helios beam didn't destroy them. It woke them up. The message returns. Without warning, every speaker, every screen, every radio on Earth flickered on by itself. A voice filled the air, deep, calm, merciless. We have seen your light. We have tasted your sun. Now you will feel our shadow. All across the planet, the sky dimmed. The sun, bright and golden a moment ago, turned slightly red, as if something massive had spread across its face. Solar power plants failed. Day turned to twilight. Panic erupted again. Holt looked up at the ceiling screen, at the live solar feed. Half the sun was now covered by a black shape. What are they doing? Mira whispered. Dr. Voss answered, her voice trembling. They're draining the sun. A race against darkness Earth had 72 hours before the planet began to freeze. If the aliens consumed enough solar energy, the sun could collapse, or worse, go supernova. Holt called an emergency council with the remaining world leaders. He explained what they were facing, showing the dark shadow expanding across the sun's surface. Some leaders shouted in disbelief. Others blamed him for activating Helios. Holt slammed his fist on the table. Argue later. Right now, we either fight back or we die. Dr. Voss proposed a desperate plan. What if we reverse Helios, she said. Instead of focusing sunlight outward, we draw it inward, turn the beam into a pull, not a push. Holt frowned. A solar implosion? That could destroy the entire system. Yes, she said. But it could also starve the Zerath Prime before it finishes feeding. He thought for a long moment. Then he nodded. Prepare the sequence. We'll call it Protocol Eclipse, the last light. The Helios core roared to life again. This time, its light was dark red instead of gold. Power levels reached beyond safe limits. Dr. Voss shouted over the alarms. The sun's reacting. Gravity flux increasing. Mira screamed. If we lose control, we'll pull ourselves into the sun. But Holt stayed calm. He watched the readings. The black shadow near the sun beginning to twist and crack. It was working. The Zerath Prime reacted violently. It sent out massive energy pulses, waves that shook the Earth's magnetosphere. Cities lost power. The sky shimmered with strange red auroras. Then, through the noise, the alien voice returned once more. You cannot kill what was born in stars. The shadow began moving toward Earth, faster than light, cutting through space like a blade. Commander! Mira shouted. It's coming straight for us. Holt's heart pounded. How long until impact? 20 minutes, he looked at Dr. Voss. Can we stop it? She shook her head. Not with Helios alone. Holt turned toward the window. The night sky was burning red. He whispered, Then we find something stronger than the sun. The control room lights flickered. A low, distant rumble filled the air, like thunder rolling across space. The Zerath Prime was coming. The sun was no longer golden. Its light had turned red, dim, and broken. Across Earth, day looked like evening, and people stared at the sky in fear. The warmth of sunlight faded. Cold winds swept across the cities. Inside Echelon Base, alarms blared through every corridor. The Zerath Prime, the true alien entity, was moving toward Earth, faster than anything human technology could measure. Commander Raiden Holt stood at the center of the control room. The giant holographic screen showed the dark mass crossing Mars's orbit. It wasn't just a ship, it was alive, feeding on energy as it moved. How long? Holt asked. Lieutenant Mira answered with a trembling voice. 18 minutes until it reaches Earth orbit. Dr. Ilara Voss turned from her console. Her eyes were full of disbelief. Commander, it's generating its own gravity field. It's pulling planets out of alignment. If it gets any closer, the moon's orbit will break. Holt stared at the screen in silence. Then this is it, he said quietly. The fall of light. Panic on Earth all over the world. Panic spread faster than any virus. Governments had lost contact with satellites. The internet was collapsing. Millions of people rushed to shelters, while others prayed in the streets. In some cities, strange shadows appeared on the ground, shapes that didn't match the sun above. They moved on their own, as if the darkness itself was alive. News anchors tried to calm the public, but fear was everywhere. Some people whispered that the sun was dying. Others said humanity was being punished, but inside Echelon Base, the truth was far worse. The enemy revealed as the Zerath Prime drew near. Its full shape became visible through the last working telescope near the moon. The image filled the main screen. The room fell silent. It looked like a massive black serpent, miles wide, with wings made of burning plasma. Its body shimmered with dark energy. Where its eyes should have been, there were two bright suns burning red. Dr. Voss whispered, "It's not a machine. It's a living star feeder." The alien voice echoed again across every speaker, deep and calm. "You lit the sun against us. Now we shall take it from you." The room shook as another solar wave hit Earth's atmosphere. The sky outside turned crimson. "A desperate plan. Helios is losing stability," Dr. Voss warned. "If it collapses, it'll pull the sun into a chain reaction." "Then stop it," Mira shouted. "I can't," Voss snapped. "It's feeding back energy from the Zerath Prime. It's no longer under our control." Commander Holt clenched his fists. He knew they had no time left. Helios had been humanity's greatest hope. Now it had become a doorway for destruction. He turned to his officers. "If we can't destroy it, maybe we can trap it." "Trap a star feeder?" Mira asked. "Yes," Holt said. "Inside the sun itself." Everyone stared at him. It sounded insane, but Holt's eyes burned with resolve. "We built Helios to control the sun," he continued. "What if we use it to collapse the sun's core, just enough to pull the Zerath Prime in, then seal it with fusion?" Dr. Voss froze. "That's suicide," she said. "The explosion would reach Earth in minutes." "I know," Holt replied softly, "but if we don't, the whole solar system dies, the final transmission." The base shook again, this time harder. A low rumble spread through the ground. Instruments flickered, glass cracked, and power surged. The Zerath Prime had reached Earth's orbit. Outside, the sky was filled with darkness and light fighting each other. Strange lightning danced across the clouds. The oceans rose, gravity twisted. "Commander!" Mira yelled. "It's attacking!" "Our magnetic field. It's pulling energy straight from the planet." "Then we fight back," Holt said. He opened a secure channel, one that reached every remaining station, ship, and command post around the world. "This is Commander Raiden Holt. Earth has faced its final dawn. We stand together, or we vanish together. Activate all solar relays. Feed power to Helios, now!" The order went out. Across the globe, hidden stations and satellites lit up one by one, sending their last streams of energy toward the dying sun. The battle of light and shadow. The Helios core burned brighter than ever before. It screamed with power, shaking the ice above it. Dr. Voss and her team worked frantically, their faces lit by golden light. "Power at 900%, she shouted. "Any more, and it will detonate." "Hold it steady," Holt ordered. "Target the center of the Zerath Prime." In space, the Helios satellites reformed their pattern, creating a blinding web around the sun. A new beam shot out, thicker, hotter, more focused than ever. It struck the Zerath Prime dead center. The creature roared. The sound echoed across frequencies, shaking every radio, every mind. It began to burn, folding its wings inward, twisting in pain. For a moment, the sky brightened again. Hope flickered, but then the creature opened its wings and absorbed the entire beam. Dr. Voss gasped. "It's feeding on Helios. It's too strong." The sun's surface cracked with fire. Massive waves of plasma shot into space. The fall of light. The control room lights exploded. Sparks flew from the ceiling. The entire base trembled like an earthquake. Mira screamed, "The sun's collapsing!" Dr. Voss shouted, "We have to shut Helios down." Holt grabbed the command terminal, sweat pouring down his face. "No, if we shut it down now, the Zerath will devour everything. We finish this." He entered the final command sequence, manual overload. "Commander, if you do that," Voss began. "I know," he said quietly. "Tell my daughter. I kept my promise." "The stars won't fall." He hit the key. The Helios core exploded with light. A shockwave spread through the sun. The Zerath Prime screamed as gravity folded around it, its body twisted, burning, vanishing into the collapsing solar fire. For a brief moment, the sun went completely dark. Then a single pulse of blinding light shot out, across space, across time, reaching Earth. Everything turned white. When the light faded, Echelon Base was silent. The power was gone. Dr. Voss slowly opened her eyes. The screens were dead. The sun was gone from the sky. Mira whispered, "Where's the sun?" No one answered. Then faintly, through the static, came a whisper, the alien voice, broken but alive. "You cannot hide from the dark." Dr. Voss turned pale. "It's still out there," she whispered, "somewhere in the void." And far beyond the frozen stars, something began to move again, a flicker of black fire in endless space. Silence. Endless, heavy silence. No warmth, no sunlight, no color. The earth floated in total darkness, alone in the void. Where the sun once burned bright, there was only a black hole, a perfect circle of nothing, surrounded by faint, swirling light. The sky had lost its day. Only the stars remained cold and distant. Inside Echelon Base, emergency lights flickered weakly. The air was thick with dust and smoke. Every machine was dead. The hum of power was gone. Dr. Ilara Voss sat on the floor beside a broken console, her hands shaking. The last image she remembered was Commander Raiden Holt pressing the final key, the Helios core exploding in a storm of light, and then darkness swallowing everything. Now there was only silence. The aftermath Lieutenant Mira woke up nearby, coughing. "Dr. Voss, are you—" "I'm here," Ilara said softly. They looked around the room. Half the ceiling had collapsed. Snow and ash blew in through the cracks. "Commander Holt!" Mira called out. There was no answer, only the echo of her voice. They searched through the wreckage until they found him, lying beside the control platform, burned but breathing faintly. His uniform was torn, his face pale. "Commander," Ilara whispered, kneeling beside him. Holt opened his eyes slowly. "Did we stop it?" he asked weakly. Ilara looked out the shattered window, at the black sky, at the missing sun. "We stopped something," she said. "But I don't know what's left of us." Holt smiled faintly. "If Earth's still here, that's enough." But even as he said it, the ground beneath them trembled. The black sun hours passed. The surviving team gathered what little power remained. They used backup generators to scan space. Dr. Voss stared at the readings, her face pale. "The sun didn't die," she whispered. "It transformed." "Transformed?" Mira repeated. Ilara pointed at the monitor. "That black sphere out there, it's not a hole. It's energy, folded in on itself. The Helios blast forced the sun into another state. It's still alive, but trapped between dimensions." Commander Holt leaned against the console, weak but alert. "And the Zerath?" Ilara's voice dropped. "That's the problem. There's movement inside the void. The Zerath Prime didn't die either. It's inside the sun, and it's trying to break free." The room went cold. Mira whispered, "So we just locked a god in a prison made of fire." Holt's eyes hardened. "Then we better make sure it never gets out." The message in the dark later that night, while the team worked to restore systems, a strange sound filled the air, a soft hum, almost like a heartbeat. "Is that the backup generator?" Mira asked. Ilara shook her head. No, that's coming from space. The sound grew louder, turning into words, a whisper made of static, echoing through every frequency. You brought me home. Holt froze. It's the Zerath Prime. This is not your world. This is my birth star. You freed me from death. Dr. Voss stared at the black sphere on the screen. It's communicating through the sun's remains. It's inside the void. Holt clenched his jaw. Then it's not enough to trap it. We need to go in. Everyone turned toward him in shock. Go in, Mira repeated. Into the void, that's suicide. Maybe, Holt said quietly. But if we don't, it'll escape. And when it does, there won't be a second sun to save us. Project Exodus Ilara hesitated, then opened a secret file. There is one way, she said. Before Helios, we built something else, a prototype ship, Project Exodus, designed for dimensional travel, never tested. Mira stared at her. You mean a ship that can fly into a black hole? Ilara nodded. In theory, yes. Its core uses reverse quantum fields. It can survive inside gravitational collapse for a short time. Holt stood slowly, his strength returning. Prepare it. Commander, Ilara protested. We don't even know if it works. He met her eyes. It doesn't have to work forever, just long enough to reach the core and make sure the Zerath Prime stays buried. Mira's eyes filled with tears. Sir, you can't... He placed a hand on her shoulder. This is what we were built for. The journey begins. The next day, as the world below froze in the eternal twilight, Echelon Base's final power systems came online. From the ice tunnels, beneath the base, the Exodus ship rose, sleek, black, built like a spear meant to pierce the stars. Its engines glowed faintly blue against the darkness. Dr. Voss uploaded the mission data. Mira armed the reactor. Once you enter the void, Ilara said, we won't be able to reach you. The signal won't survive the field. Holt nodded. If I fail, destroy the Helios core completely. Don't let it reopen. He turned to the viewing window one last time. The earth below was dim, covered in clouds. He whispered to himself, we took the sun for granted. Maybe we didn't deserve it. Then he entered the ship. Into the void engines roared. The Exodus lifted off, rising through the red sky, past the dead clouds, past the broken light. Mira and Ilara watched from the command room, eyes full of fear and hope. As the ship approached the black sun, everything around it began to distort. Stars bent. Time seemed to slow. Telemetry dropping, Ilara said. He's crossing the event line. Static filled the speakers. Then one final voice came through, Holt's. If anyone hears this, tell Earth we fought for the light. The signal broke. The Exodus disappeared into the void. For a moment, everything was silent again. The black sun pulsed once, faintly, like a heartbeat. Dr. Voss stared at it, her voice trembling. He's inside. Mira wiped her eyes. Do you think he's alive? Ilara didn't answer. She watched as the pulse grew stronger, each beat faster than the last. Then, deep inside the void, a second light appeared. Not white, but crimson. Ilara's voice broke to a whisper. It's not dying. It's evolving. The Zerath Prime was changing, becoming something new. Darkness ruled the sky. The earth was dying, oceans frozen, forests grey, cities silent. Without the sun, time had no meaning. Only the stars remained, faint and cold, watching from far away. Inside Echelon Base, the survivors worked by lantern light. Every breath they took formed frost in the air. Machines had stopped long ago. Hope was fading like the last spark of a candle. Dr. Ilara Voss sat beside the broken main console, listening to the static that used to be Commander Raiden Holt's voice. For days, she had tried to reach him, but the signal was gone. Lieutenant Mira entered quietly, carrying 2 metal cups of water half frozen into ice. You haven't slept, she said softly. Ilara shook her head. He's still out there. Mira looked out through the cracked glass window at the dark horizon. It's been 6 days, Doctor. The Exodus ship is gone. The black sun swallowed everything. Elara didn't reply. Her eyes stayed fixed on the console's flickering lights. The Helios system is still picking up something. Faint energy waves looked like a heartbeat. Mira frowned. The Zereth Prime! Elara looked up. Or Holt. Inside the Void Commander, Holt floated in a world without light. The Exodus ship creaked and groaned around him as if space itself were alive. Outside his window there was nothing. No stars, no sky, only shifting waves of darkness that glowed red from within. He checked the instruments. They no longer measured time, only pressure and energy spikes. Every system screamed errors, yet somehow the ship still moved forward. His voice recorder blinked weakly. Mission log. Commander Raiden Holt, I have entered the void. I can still feel it, the presence of the Zereth Prime. It's not dead, it's changing. As he spoke, something moved outside. A shape, massive and fluid, forming from the darkness. It pulsed like a living shadow, stretching across infinity. Holt whispered, "You're still here." Then the alien voice came again, calm and deep, echoing inside his mind. You came to the heart of creation. You burned your star to reach me. Holt gritted his teeth. You destroyed worlds. You killed billions. I was born from your light. Your kind gave me life when you touched the sun. I am the shadow you created. The words struck him like thunder. You're saying we made you? Every star carries its opposite. When you awakened Helios, you gave me form. Holt felt cold realization spreading through his body. Humanity hadn't just fought a monster, they had created one. The choice. The Zereth Prime began to take shape. A being made of swirling red fire and black matter, vast beyond imagination. Its voice surrounded Holt like wind. You can end this. Surrender your world and I will give it light again. Holt's heart pounded. He looked at the glowing controls, his ship barely alive. You want me to trade Earth's freedom for survival? Freedom is a lie. Life needs order. You brought chaos to the stars. I bring peace. Holt remembered the faces of his people, the fear, the hope, the promise he made. He clenched his fists. No, he said. We don't surrender, not now. Not ever. Then you will die with your world. The shadow lunged toward the ship. Systems exploded. Warnings filled the cabin. Holt was thrown from his seat, blood on his face. But as he fell, his eyes caught a flicker of light on the main screen, a single code, blinking in red. Heliocore, manual link detected. He realized the Helios system on Earth was still connected to him through the void itself. He could send one final command. The last dawn back on Earth, Dr. Voss suddenly gasped. Signal! I'm getting a signal from the void! Mira rushed to her side. Is it him? Elara's eyes widened. It's Commander Holt. He's activating Helios. The monitors came alive, showing a massive energy surge near the black sun. He's channeling power from inside the void, Elara said. He's trying to restart the sun, but that could destroy everything. Mira shouted. Elara shook her head. Or save us all. Holt's final stand inside the Exodus. Holt reached for the control lever. The ship was melting around him. The Zereth Prime's voice screamed inside his head. You cannot fight what you created, Holt shouted back, his voice shaking with pain and fire. Then I'll unmake you. He pulled the lever. The ship exploded with light, pure, blinding white. It tore through the void, splitting the black sun apart. The Zereth Prime screamed as its form shattered into pieces of burning shadow. Energy waves raced across space, reaching Earth within seconds. The light returns. The world trembled. Snow melted. Oceans moved. And then, light, a soft golden glow spread across the sky. The sun blazed back to life, smaller but bright, reborn in fire and silence. People stepped out of shelters, staring in disbelief as warmth touched their faces again. In Echelon Base, Elara and Mira watched through the window as dawn broke for the first time in weeks. It's back, Mira whispered. He did it. Elara smiled faintly, tears falling. He kept his promise. The final message hours later, as systems slowly returned, a transmission appeared on the screen. Faint, full of static. It was Holt's voice. If you're hearing this, The light returned. Don't forget why it almost died. The sun burns for those who protect, not for those who conquer. Tell them, we're never alone. Not in the dark, not in the light. Then the signal faded, leaving only quiet and the rising sound of the wind. Ilara closed her eyes and whispered, "Goodbye, Commander." The camera in the sky showed the new sun glowing gently and far in its light. Just for a moment, a shadow moved, almost like a figure standing between the stars, watching. And so Earth saw its last dawn, not as the end of everything, but as the beginning of something new. The universe had spoken once, and humanity had finally answered.